It is December 30th, 2025. And since it is the end of the year, I've been reflecting on a bunch of different things about the past year, right? As one usually does going into 2026. But I also found this notebook in my closet, right? This is a notebook from 10 years ago, from when I was in high school, when I was 15. And I might pause a bit here and there because I'm sick, so don't mind me. But I really wanted to make this video because I was thinking about how 10 years ago, or when I was in high school, right? Like, one of the nights that kind of became a core memory for me and that I think about a lot was this one night where I came back home from high school at like 7 p.m., okay? Like 5, 6, 7 p.m., like whatever. I know, big range. And the point there was basically this subject we were about to learn called trig identities, right? Just a specific subject within pre-calc. And I really wanted to get ahead on that subject at the time because it was really important that I get a good grade on that subject, because if you get a good grade on that subject, then the next year you can go to like a really good class, okay? Like a class I really wanted to make sure I could get into. So I was obsessed with getting into that class. And in the pursuit of that, I came home that one night and I was like, you know what? Let me get ahead on this subject, trig identities. And I remember I came home and I kind of just started doing problems, right? I would just go one by one and start doing all the problems myself. And I remember I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm learning a lot. I'm going to keep doing problems from the textbook and keep going and keep going and keep going. And I just remember I had started this like early evening, and before I knew it, 10 hours had gone by and it was like 3 or 4 a.m. the next day. And I was like, oh my God, maybe even 5 a.m. if I remember correctly, which I don't because I just said 3 or 4 or 5 a.m. But I do know that it had been 10 hours. I just remember that. Because I was like, what the heck? Like, I did this for 10 hours. I did all these problems, like, in pen just for fun. Like, I started, like, maybe out of, like, you know, needing to get ahead, you know, being a good student, whatever. But I remember even for the next week, I kept doing problems. I kept wanting to learn more and more about it. And I think about that memory a lot. Like, that night became a core memory for me because, yeah, I like got good at the subject and I was able to get into like that class I wanted and everything because I was like a gunner in high school, which I'm still a gunner person. But I was going to say, it's just like, why was I able to easily focus or enter like the flow state for like 10 hours that one night? And I've had other areas in my life where I've had this happen over and over again. But I was just thinking about it and thinking about like why, like especially when it came to math, like when I was like really into math, like why was it so easy to kind of just focus on math back in the day? And I think it has to do with the fact that when you get really into learning math yourself, right? Of course you understand like the concepts, but every single stroke of pen, right, that you feel, every like dot of pencil or pen, like when you're doing the problem, is almost like dopamine because your brain is moving at the same speed as you're thinking because you're writing it all out, and you're just trying to, like, you're solving one problem. You're just trying to solve that little one problem, and you have a feedback loop. Like, you either get the problem right or you get it wrong. And I think that's why it was so addicting, is you can just do one problem, go to the next problem, do one problem, go to the next problem, do one problem, go to the next problem. And it's very easy to just stick to all of those loops and enjoy like all of those little feedback loops, right? You have instant feedback. And I think in life, like now 10 years later, when you're in your mid-20s and you're trying all these other projects that are like non-STEM or STEM, more creative, less creative, have nothing to do with math, could be in sports, could be anything. Some people, like, including me, like, I'm wondering, like, you know, how can I, like, enter flow for that long in some things? Or how can I, you know, build, like, a system or be present when I'm doing those things in a way where I was present, like, this night, like, this day, when I did this many problems. And one of the realizations I had was that dopamine I just described to you, where, like, you go line by line and you kind of, you know, you feel like you're solving, like, like that one problem. You're just so in it. That's the same feeling like I would get when I play video games. Like when I would play a first-person shooter, like a competitive shooter like Valorant, right? Or like I could play Counter-Strike or any shooter, but like I remember I grinded all the way to like ranked. You can become this rank in Valorant. This was before they had a rank called Ascendant. So it was Diamond, which was right below Immortal. And I grinded that rank. And I remember when I would sit around the corner and hold corners and communicate with my teammates, like, oh my God, someone's coming around this corner. I'm going to shoot them. I'm holding this. I'm doing like aim training and this and that. The reason it was so enjoyable, each match is so addicting, is because there's a really quick feedback loop, right? Like if you make a decision in a game, you die or you don't die. Your character respawns or they don't respawn. There's like a clear objective in a game that someone else has created for you, which becomes really addicting to kind of play over and over again. And it's kind of the same thing with math. The same way you can enter flow for like 10 hours, you can do it here as well. And it's like now, I think the reason I'm making this video like the 2 days before 2026 is I'm thinking, what little feedback loops can I incorporate into like my bigger projects coming up, like the projects I want to do in 2026, which aren't related to even like necessarily academics. They're just some things, like some videos I want to make, like how do I have like a creative system that will enable me to like, edit the way I want to edit more stylistically in a way that makes better videos. And also not just that, but just, other areas like my fitness, like me working out at the gym. And I think if I start, there's different ways I can think about it, but one aspect of like both math and video games is when you do a math problem, you can see what you did right after. You can see the progress. It's all tracked. In this notebook, when I was doing it for weeks, it was all tracked. And similarly, when I if you play like Valorant or online like video games, it's all tracked too, right? So it's kind of like for each, if you of course start tracking your own progress in something, which you hear all the time, it can become addicting because you see the number or you see your past like goal or your achievement and you're like, okay, let me just do a little bit better than that, right? And then let me do a little bit better than that. And then you have like something to look back on, like some history, some like track record, right? So I think tracking things is something I definitely want to try to do more in 2026. But it was just cool, like I kind of made that connection where the notebook was self-tracking and then the video games are self-tracking too. And I just remember like outside of the tracking, it can also be the fact that the feedback loop is so quick. Like you have a small, quick feedback loop of math problems every time you do one. In video games, you have small, quick feedback loops. So you kind of have to, I think in the real world, like you kind of have to figure out what those little feedback loops are for you or your project. Whatever your current project is right now, what are those little feedback loops for you? How can you, enjoy or be present when you're like doing that thing and kind of track that thing to the point where you can like, have fun with it. Where even if you're not supposed to have fun with it, even if you feel like you're not supposed to have fun with it, it suddenly becomes fun to you, or you can really deep dive into it. And yeah, I brought this up kind of last second because I want to look back on this video like a year from now or some time from now. And I kind of want to talk about all the little loops like I've incorporated. So I thought this would be a really cool video to like kind of loop back on because of course like I've done other things like way after like this math notebook where I've done that. But I don't think I've been tracking it in a like I don't have like notebooks like this from college or as things that are as easily trackable once you go outside of the classroom or leave a video game, right? So I think maybe the videos in a way will kind of be my track record. I think that's what I'm really looking forward to over the next year as I like edit more videos and create more videos. Maybe that's kind of like how a lot of YouTubers or creators look at like their work. But I'm just thinking about like all the other aspects. So this is kind of like a capsule in time, but I just wanted to share this with anyone else that might also think it's like interesting or helpful, even though it's a very, very like non-traditional or nerdy angle to look at it from. But yeah, that's basically my reflection from 2025 or one of them. So I hope someone finds that interesting or food for thought. Leave any comments below. Thank you.